Welcome everyone to our Financial Management Annual Priorities and Challenges webinar. We're so glad that you're here. Just a couple of items before we get started. I wanted to let you know that audio is available through your computer or through your dial-in, and we do have everyone muted. At any time during the presentation, feel free to submit questions or comments. Hopefully we'll have some time to address the questions in the Q&A session that we've allocated at the end of the session. And finally, a link to the recording will be sent to all registrants via email in the next day or two. By way of introduction, my name is Kelley Pruetz, and I'm the Principal Research Lead for Financial Management here at APQC. I've been with APQC just shy of 2 years, and I come to APQC with just over 30 years of experience, having worked in the financial corporate world, specifically here in Houston in oil and gas industry, most recently as Vice President and Treasurer of an international E&P company. Through my experience, I've navigated a variety of business and market cycles. There have been a lot of fun things, fun projects, and some difficult ones to work through. But I'm happy to be here and be able to share my experiences and my knowledge with our audience today. So thank you for joining us. Here's the agenda we plan to cover today. First, I want to give you a little bit of background, context setting, so to speak, of the survey research that we did. We'll want to talk through what the respondents said were their top priorities for the finance function for 2025 and what they believe to be some of the key challenges and risk. And lastly, I'd like to give you just a brief insight into some content and resources that we have available. And in the end, hopefully, again, we'll have some time for questions. Study overview and demographics. So we do this survey each year to sort of unpack the trends and challenges shaping the work of financial and accounting professionals. We did the survey in late 2024, asking for insights into 2025. And as you can see here, we had 335 valid participants. As far as region goes, you can see that almost 48% or almost 50% came through from the United States and Canada, but the other 50% came from around the world. So this was a global survey, and we received responses from 15 different industries. It is important to us to make sure we ask specifically for the right industry so that we can provide the data back out at the industry level. In terms of role level, we deliberately sought respondents with decision-making power and/or broad knowledge across the finance function. And then we've heard through the year that it's helpful for some to see the organization size by the number of FTEs. So we wanted to make sure that we collected that data and were able to share that here as well. And we analyzed that data in a pretty evenly dispersed annual revenue sizes. So what did we find the top priorities and challenges were for 2025? And this is just kind of a year over year. We wanted to show the topics that we collected on that we've changed up a little bit this year. So we wanted to take it a step deeper and not just measure how finance functions are getting better. We wanted to explore how finance is evolving in a technology-driven world, which I believe is a more forward-thinking conversation. And again, with finance data management to data analytics, I hope that represents a deeper conversation because it moves beyond organizing and maintaining data to actively extracting insights, predicting trends, and driving decision-making. I think both of these align finance more closely with business strategy and growth initiatives. So what we meant by what are your top challenges? What are your top focus areas? What we mean is what do you plan to invest in? Areas for improvement, for automation, and so on. And as you can see, digital transformation came out strongly as the #1 priority for 2025. Then it was followed by data analytics, cash flow management, and risk management and compliance, which all came in pretty close with one another. So let's talk first about digital transformation. Okay, I know this slide is busy. It's got a lot of data on it, and you will receive the slide deck that you can kind of look into a little bit further. But I couldn't decide which parts of this I would leave off. Obviously, the top focus of digitization of finance reporting and budgeting was important, as well as enterprise risk planning. But then at the bottom, we see robotic process automation, which in the last 2 or 3 years has been one of the top areas. So for that reason, I wanted to make sure I showed everything. And of course, we have AI coming in the middle there, which I think is always an important topic for us to cover right now. So if we are looking at implementing AI specifically, we wanted to show the year-over-year comparison. So here you have both 2024 and 2025. And you can see the movement from rolling out and fully implemented. And then also at the bottom, if you look at the not considering. So in 2024, just 1 in 5 respondents said that they were not considering using AI. But by 2025, that number dropped significantly to 1 in 20 respondents, reflecting a notable shift in attitude toward AI adoption. Some factors that drive this trend may include technological advancements, cost efficiencies, and really just AI capabilities improving. We asked our respondents, those of you who are at least considering AI, what functions do you expect to be able to take advantage of AI capabilities? And what we heard was financial report generation and financial forecasting are the top processes. And this makes sense because these tasks rely heavily on data analytics, pattern recognition, and automation, which is really where AI excels, providing more accurate predictions, faster reporting, and with that comes hopefully improved efficiency. Top financial process leveraging digital transformation. So what we wanted to know is what areas are benefiting from digital transformation initiatives. And what we found was financial reporting and accounts payable and receivable. So this just reinforces the growing reliance on digital tools to streamline reporting accuracy and compliance, while improving efficiency and managing cash flow and working capital. The greatest benefit of digital transformation. The survey highlights that the most significant benefits of digital transformation are reduced manual processes and improved accuracy, which I think is what we would all probably expect. These findings emphasize how automation and advanced technology are streamlining workflows and enhancing the precision of financial operations. We do know that even though companies are realizing some efficiencies with reduced manual processes, we find out later when we talk about cash flow, they aren't seeing a reduction in labor costs. Challenges in adopting digital solutions. We see that the lack of skilled talent stands out as the most significant hurdle in adopting digital solutions. So I did have an opportunity to talk to one of the individuals who had taken our survey. I was able to follow up with them and kind of talk through some of the questions and his feelings on those. And this lack of skilled talent was a specific conversation. And he had some good insights saying that he felt like each year as a new group of folks join the workforce, that things will get better and better. Current college students are more aware of AI's value and will likely implement it more quickly in the workforce. They've grown up with AI-driven tools, machine learning-based search algorithms, and automation in everyday applications. So I took that and I did a little bit of secondary research. And I found that many universities are also incorporating AI into their curriculum, either through dedicated courses or AI-enhanced research and learning tools. That doesn't mean that organizations should sit tight. They still need to invest in talent development, upskilling, and training to bridge that gap. data analytics. When we talk about finance data analytics, we're referring to the use of data-driven techniques, statistical models, and technology to analyze financial data for better decision-making. It includes historical analysis, identifying causes, forecasting, and then actionable recommendations. So here, there's not a lot to talk about here, but we did want to give the year-over-year comparison. And what we find, really, the story is nearly all respondents lever finance data analytics. But we see from 2024, 1 in 10 said they were not using finance data analytics. And then in 2025, we see that 1 in 100 are not using finance data analytics. So we've seen quite the movement there. So then we asked, what statement best describes your organization's current use? And what we see is 25% of organizations still rely on Excel for manually updating charts and graphs. However, the majority have adopted more advanced data visualization tools. So we are moving in the right direction. Companies are using data visualization for financial forecasting and capital budgeting and investments because it provides real-time insights, trend analysis, and scenario modeling, which allows for more accurate decision-making. By transforming complex financial data into intuitive visuals, businesses can quickly identify risk, compare investment options, and communicate key insights effectively. Moved on to cash flow management. What are your cash flow challenges? And this year we heard customer invoices not being paid on time was the #1 challenge. This didn't come as a surprise to us because last year it got on our radar because it had moved up. It had basically been a challenge that wasn't very high on anyone's list. Last year it did move up about halfway through the list of challenges, this year landing at #1. But last year we had an opportunity to do some secondary research again and talk to some of our members. And what we found was in the rising interest rate environment, it's increasing borrowing rates, which affects business capital and it slows down investments. Businesses are seeing reduced access to affordable credit and tighter financial conditions, putting pressure on cash flow management. The shift in payment behavior with higher interest rates, businesses are holding on to cash longer, basically using invoice payments as a working capital tool. And that's causing payment delays and tightening cash flow across all industries. I don't think that's a new thing. I think companies have been doing that, but it's starting to put more pressure. And they're doing that in 2 ways. They're either delaying payments, so just choosing to late pay, or they're prioritizing which invoices get paid when. They're also extending terms beyond usual cycles. So many of us are used to net 30 and are now seeing net 90 or even net 120. So I wanted to take a look at this, and this may be just because it's something that was a process that fell under my role, but I wanted to see how often people are reviewing their cash flow statement. And what we heard, about 50% were either daily or weekly, but then the majority may have been monthly with just a tad falling down to quarterly. Just something to keep your finger on the pulse of. Move on to finance risk management. Given the ever-present threat of cyber attacks, geopolitical insecurity, and market instability, it makes sense that respondents cite risk management as a top priority. Respondents report market risk, legal and regulatory risk, and then credit risk as the 3 most important risks to focus on for 2025. Mitigating market risk is essential for protecting the financial health and long-term viability of organizations, especially those operating in today's complex and interconnected global markets. Interestingly, operational risk, which is including cyber risk, was ranked last with 12%. However, it did emerge as the overwhelming second most important risk factor for 34% of our respondents, highlighting its significance as a critical concern for many organizations. Core elements of effective financial management. A significant majority of respondents rely on risk assessment and audit processes as key components of their financial risk management framework. This highlights the critical role of identifying, evaluating, and monitoring risks systemically to ensure compliance within organizations. Which risk mitigation techniques have proven most effective for your company? And nearly half of the respondents find building strong counterparty relationships to be the most effective risk mitigation technique, highlighting the importance of trust and collaboration in managing risk. As Sam said to me, you may not know what's ahead of you, but it's good to know who's beside you. Meanwhile, 41% emphasize the value of insurance and risk transfer mechanisms. So like a contractual agreement where one party agrees to assume responsibility for specific risks, underscoring the critical role of finance safeguards in protecting against potential losses. I also wanted to share a little bit of our APQC financial management research. And if you look here, you'll receive this, and there'll be some clicks where you can see some different resources that we have available. And again, this is just a brief snapshot, but some things I thought you may find helpful, along with some collections. So the collection will have, if you look at the 2025 financial management priorities and challenges, it'll have this webinar, it'll have our survey report, it'll have articles and infographics that we've written on to dig in a little deeper on some of these topics. So as a reminder, you'll receive a copy of the slides and the recording of the webinar in just a couple of days. We thank you so much for joining us today. And if there's any questions that you have or that come to mind, go ahead and send those to us and we'll be happy to follow up with you. So thank you so much for being with us today.